everyone. We're going to be doing a short show tonight, as it is. And, Mike.
Yeah, man.
We both agreed we're going to do a short show tonight, correct?
Yeah, man. We're going to do about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, but it's 420 and the police are doing saturation patrols throughout the state of Oregon, meaning they're upping the DUI checkpoints because of legalization of pot. And Bunny and I want to rush out there and document that stuff because police are violent gang members and they need to have someone keep them in check and keep them accountable.
Oh, it's not just that, man. Don't forget, it's a certain special someone's birthday.
Oh, it is Hitler's birthday. Yes, I'm going to be asking cops tonight just for shits and giggles. Are you aware of the fact that tonight is Hitler's birthday? You know, just for their facial expressions. You know, something to keep me occupied.
Yeah, well, I mean, as is, tonight's definitely going to be fun, mainly with the saturation pool stuff. Thank you, Scorpion, for the subscribe there. But as yeah, go ahead.
Just quickly, I mean, I'm looking forward to addressing some noble heroes as well.
Oh yes, well, since we're going to be doing a short show and all that stuff, let's go ahead and knock out the few news stories we have before we go on and listen to the Pink Camera Magic's interview, pre-recorded interview that we didn't get to last time, but we'll get to this time. That is all for sure. And let me get this brought up here. Where is my Windows? Okay, there we go for that. We got it to display, and today's intro music was, of course, by Techno Axe, Life as a Sprite. And let us go ahead. Now, Mike, why don't you give us some context behind what we're about ready to watch?
Okay, we're going to start with the sheriff's deputies and their heroic actions, in quotes, right?
Yeah, why are you not in the My Circle, man? I got to give you the access promotions. I put the link in the live stream, remember?
Yeah, just wait a second. I'm not in the My Circle thing yet because I need to send a link to my Steam account. So hold on. Bam. All right. Got that taken care of. So Discord and...
Hold on, everyone. We're getting them in there.
Yeah, you guys are just going to have to suffer. So yeah, what we're about to watch is a press conference. There was 2 deputies that were murdered while they were sitting down in a Chinese restaurant, which is tragic, and it's sad that someone was murdered. But we're going to check out... So I'm going to skip it up to 11:40.
All right, did you click on... You're not in the My Circle, are you?
Yes, I am.
I'm not seeing...
I clicked on the link for the My Circle. It took me to a... directly to a YouTube video. It took me to a YouTube video link. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So yeah, we're going to watch this press conference, well, excerpts from it, where the police are, you know, talking about this tragedy. Okay. Okay. I'm ready, brother.
Yeah, okay. We're at 11:33, and we're going to listen to what this officer's got to say about the shooting.
That they are. And that's good individuals, good deputy sheriffs. I would like to thank all the agencies involved. If you look behind me, there's men and women of just about every county in North Florida represented. Sheriffs, the police chiefs, public safety officers, state representatives. I've been contacted by everybody you can think of because they recognize that we have heroes among us. They understand what it takes to be a law enforcement officer.
Charging battery.
There's so much I want to say and so much I shouldn't say. But I will say this. We're not going to make this into at least the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Office, and I think I could speak for every citizen of Gilchrist County. We're not going to make this a political issue, other than the fact, what do you expect happens when you demonize law enforcement to the extent that it's been demonized? Every type of hate, every type of put down that you can think of. The only thing these men were guilty of was wanting to protect you and me. They just wanted to go get something to eat, and they just wanted to do their job. But as I started my remarks, when they pinned on the badge and they strapped on the gun, they knew this was one of those things that could happen. It fell upon us. The Gilchrist County Sheriff's Office and the men and women, we will honor these men by doing our jobs. We will honor them by doing what we're supposed to do.
All right. Excuse me. I got to get this mouse out of my hand before I throw it.
Yeah, go ahead, Bunny. I want to skip ahead and watch the very first few seconds of this interview because I'm pretty sure they said something about heroes in a line of fire.
Okay,
so let's listen to that and then we'll do your reaction. I'll skip all the way to the beginning, okay?
Yeah, go and do that.
Okay. But I know Bunny wants a piece of this real bad, so do I.
Everybody, news alert taking you out live now to Florida, Trenton, Florida to be exact, where 2 deputies were killed in an apparent ambush at a restaurant. Again, 2 sheriff's deputies were shot and killed today
Charging battery.
in a restaurant in Trenton, Florida, in what appeared to
Charge
be an ambush.
complete.
The Gilchrist County deputies died after a suspect walked up to the Ace China restaurant around 3 p.m. and shot both deputies through the window. That is according to an Alachua, is that how you say it, County Sheriff's Office? They said that in a statement made on behalf of the
Okay, never mind. It was a different news story, but go ahead, Bunny. So what's your initial reaction to this?
The fact that I'm not gonna make this political, blah 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 blah, but I gotta state, this is what happens when you demonize the cops to the point of whatever, blah blah blah. No. People aren't really demonizing the cops. People are demonizing the cops' actions. It is the bad apples amongst your ranks that is causing the most discontent amongst you. Amongst the population against the police. It is the legal, the rights violations that are going on. It is the unneeded beatings, the excessive force. It is the overzealous police that are just going off and shooting like crazy.
You know, I've watched a whole lot of coverage of this, and the corporate media keep calling them heroes. I'm sorry, there are 2 men that were murdered, and that's horrible, right? I feel for their families, and I feel for them. You know, they could have been good people that happened to have that uniform. I'll give them that benefit of the doubt. But they're by no stretch of the imagination fucking heroes. Okay, when 300 Spartans held off 1 million Persian soldiers and died to the last man and fought them to a standstill, those were heroes. When those amphibious half-tracks opened up and all those thousands of men poured into the Nazis' machine gun nest at Normandy, those were heroes. These were 2 men that were murdered having lunch. There's a difference, okay? Like, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the most dangerous jobs, the most 15 most dangerous jobs in America, police do not rank within them. Okay, they're not heroes, you know. And I saw a news story earlier this morning when I was waking up having my tea, you know, heroes died in the line of fire. I mean, I thought they were going to talk about like some kind of historical event or something, you know. No, they weren't like storming the beaches of Normandy. They weren't holding off the Persians at Thermopylae, you know. No, they weren't those Marines, you know, that was, you know, protecting that embassy that like all those people are having those conspiracies about and like trying to vilify Clinton over it, you know, trying to protect those diplomats. No, I mean, they aren't heroes. They're people that were murdered. And I'm very frustrated at this whole mentality. You know, more cab drivers are murdered in this country than any other profession. But when cab drivers get killed, when somebody gets in the back of their cab and shoots them in the back of the head or beats them and takes their money, we don't shut down the streets and like have, you know, parades and guys with bagpipes and, you know, flag draped coffins being carted up and down the street with horses and all this crazy shit. I mean, I'm so infuriating. And you're right, Bunny. It's absolutely their fault that they get the ire that they get. You know, we're filming them and documenting their bad behavior. They're earning this hate. I don't think people should be shooting them, but the hate and ire that the American people have for law enforcement is well deserved. If you guys stop acting like contemptible shit sacks, law enforcement, people won't hate you as much. And if you don't like the hate, you can either reform it from inside. You can either do something about your bad actors in your gang, because that's what you guys act like is a gang, or you can quit your jobs. If you don't like it, quit your jobs.
Yeah, he does make the point. This could happen when they put that uniform and badge on. That is very true. They signed up for that risk. They knew full well when you signed that contract for the city to work with them, or that employment agreement, and you put that badge on, guess what? you may be targeted just because people don't like cops.
Yeah,
Whether there's a valid or invalid excuse behind that target action. Just like when I signed up for the military, I signed that dotted line, I signed my life over to the government. And then when I went overseas, guess what? If a mortar shell fell on me, that was mainly on me because I signed up for the military to go get blown up for Uncle Sam. That is the risk of the job. It doesn't make you a hero just because you signed up to go and do something.
Yeah, I mean, heroic actions defines one as a hero. You want to get mentioned in history? Like I said, dude, you know, it was Benghazi. The Marines that protected that embassy that was being attacked in Benghazi, those were heroic deeds. They happened to be soldiers, you know, that's what they signed up for, but that was acts of heroism. There's a reason why in the military they don't give everybody a Bronze Star, because everybody doesn't fucking deserve one. It's that simple. I mean, valor under fire, you know, not, you know, happen to get made dead while having bad Chinese food.
Yeah, and the thing is I think probably the one they say that the shooter was killed, and was laying dead outside. Now they won't comment exactly on how he died. Now, if the cops shot him when they got shot at, I give them credit for that. But in that case, it's just two people in a deadly brawl shooting at each other, and they managed to, everybody took each other out at that point.
They said his body was found elsewhere, so I think it was, my guess is it's a separate event.
Okay.
You know, and my heart goes out to their families. You know, I feel horrible that somebody has been murdered, but they're not heroes. I mean, that's part of the problem, law enforcement and people that worship them, is the simple fact that they get this overinflated sense of self that they're so important, and just calling them a hero is just going to make more people hate them, because it's going to have more cops walking around with their chest popped out like they're a freaking robin, you know, that just got the biggest, juiciest worm out the lawn. Like, I'm just so pissed off.
Yeah, well, speaking of earning the hate, whoops. Let us go ahead and look at this article by the Daily Beast titled, "Unarmed Teen Killed by Police Was Simply Backing His Mom's Minivan Out of the Garage, Lawsuit Claims." And pretty much the subtitle, "The 17-year-old was home alone when officers were called to the Red Brick House to check on him after he allegedly threatened to harm himself on FaceTime." So, yeah, this is going to be a really sad story. And it emphasizes the earning the hate. When 17-year-old John Albers threatened to suicide on FaceTime, his friends called police. Within minutes of officers' arrival at the teen's home, he was dead, but not because he killed himself. Officer Clayton Jensen allegedly acted recklessly and deliberately when he shot 13 times at Albers, who may not even known the police were at his home, according to a federal lawsuit filed by his parents. The boy was simply backing his mom's minivan out of the family garage, the complainant alleges. Albers, a junior varsity soccer player and wrestler, was home alone on January 20, 2018 in Overland Park, a suburb of Kansas City, when police were called to the two-story house to check on him. When they arrived at the home, two officers never announced their presence at the residence, or even knocked on the door. The complaint alleges several minutes later, the family's two-car garage door began to rise, according to the lawsuit. Officer Jensen began moving towards the vehicle and unholstered his weapon. As Albers backed out of the garage about 2.5 miles an hour in a straight line, the lawsuit alleges nothing that the officer's actions were contrary to the department's policy and general law enforcement standards. Jensen allegedly yelled, "Stop, stop, stop," and waited only 1 second before he fired his pistol twice at Albers. Video evidence from neighbors' front door camera shows the minivan's rear brake lights activated as soon as the first shot was fired, according to the lawsuit. But Albers was allegedly hit, rendering him incapable and completely unable to keep control of the minivan. Jensen, who was allegedly never in the path of the vehicle, fired 11 more shots at the minivan. Albers, a platinum blonde teen with bright blue eyes, was hit a total of 6 times in the back, in the head, neck, chest, and torso and face. Albert's parents claims Jensen was never in danger, had no reason to unholster his firearm in the first place. There is no indication that Albers even knew the officer was present in his driveway or was a law enforcement officer until he had been shot and seriously wounded, the lawsuit claims. The complainant filed Tuesday in U.S. District Court in Kansas City, Kansas, claims the use of excessive force in violation of the 4th and 14th Amendment and demands jury trial to determine unspecified damages. It names Johnson and Overland Police Department as defendants. Albert's life was cut tragically short despite the fact no offense or civilians were ever in any danger, according to the lawsuit. The family also cites department policy which prohibits shooting into a moving vehicle except in self-defense or in defense of another and when the suspect is using deadly force. Albers had a history of potential mental health issues, according to the lawsuit, but had never threatened suicide. He was not intoxicated or on any drugs, with the exception of Adderall, which may have been prescribed by a doctor, the complainant claims. Albers was not suspected for any crimes and had committed no crimes. The lawsuit alleges it adds that objective reasonable officer would not have pulled out his pistol and approached the family minivan. A vehicle passing a police officer does not give that officer an ongoing license to kill an unthreatening citizen, the lawsuit reads. The lawsuit also notes that Jensen never received crisis intervention training, which teaches officers how to de-escalate and defuse mental health situations when answering calls for service. Jensen resigned from the police department for personal reasons following the shooting, according to the Kansas City Star. In February, Johnson County prosecutor Steve Howie announced that a multi-jurisdictional investigation found Jensen reasonably feared for his life, was in danger, and was justified in his actions. Police released dash cam video of the shooting from the shootings consistent with screenshots in the lawsuit. None of us can be in the mind of the officer at the time, Howie said. He felt he was in danger and took reasonable action. A spokesman for the city of Overland Park declined to comment to local news outlets, citing pending litigation. What do you think, Mike?
I think, you know, cops always have that in the back of their mind, man. They know that all they have to do is fear for my life, you. Don't make me fear for my life, you. You know, leaving you dead. I mean, this is the problem. Police know damn well they have a corporate media that's going to fillet authority. They know damn well they have the police union. They know damn well they have their, you know, special Bill of Rights that they get. They know damn well that the average citizen will just mindlessly go along with whatever crap spews out of their mouth because they happen to be wearing that stupid fucking costume. So that's status quo. This kind of stuff happens all the time, you know, and it barely makes the news. I mean, it gets a bare mention and then it disappears unless the family make a lawsuit. If there's a lawsuit, if somebody can afford to drag these pigs into the court system, then all of a sudden it gets reported on enough to where people start to actually care about the story enough for it to gain any traction. But it's just, you know, more gang violence in America as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I'm going to also bring in a quote, well, a comment on the article that was done by a couple people. And this is over on Reddit. And Sweet Glavin does a quote. In February, Johnson City County Prosecutor Steve Howie announced that the multi-jurisdictional investigation found Jensen reasonably feared his life was in danger and was justified in his action. And after that quote, he goes, or they go, "Oh, I see." Now, what's interesting is AJM2247. If you watch the video, it's pretty crazy how fast the cop opens fire on the van backing out of the garage. It's literally seconds. Has no idea who is driving it either. And then, well, some of you might recognize this name. But anyway, we'll read their comment. He doesn't care who's driving. He knows he can murder with anyone, scream he feared for his life, and get away with it. But if they done a drug screen on the officer after the shooting, police unions oppose this. They'd have found drugs in his system, probably steroids. They checked the dead kid's blood for drugs. Why not the shooter? I think that's a very good comment. What do you think?
I think that there are more double standards that law enforcement apply to themselves that they don't apply to everyone else as far as how they're investigated when an alleged crime occurs, that it would take 14 shows to go through all of them. One of them is the fact that, yes, police unions do lobby against, and it's part of the union contract of many cities, that they do not do regular drug testing, you know, for anabolic steroids. And, you know, aside from impotence, you know, aggression, irritability, excitability, the ability to not sleep very well are all known side effects of steroids. So when these cops are juicing, you know, it could turn an average person into a complete a-hole. Imagine what a sociopathic, violent cop would get turned into if they start juicing. You know, it's just, so annoying.
It's really annoying. And I mean, as is, this is a great instance of earning the hate. It's not really demonizing. It's the cops bringing this upon themselves by not properly policing themselves in the first place. This is just like how I got criticisms of the freaking video games industry with the damn loot boxes. They're not policing themselves, so the government's got to step in. I don't want the government to step in.
Well, there's lots of examples of the Fed stepping in and taking over municipal police departments. I'll give an example. After Katrina in New Orleans, their police departments are pretty much controlled by feds. Oakland have been threatened multiple times by the federal government that if they don't cut their violent crap out, that the feds will take over their police departments. You know, I think the solution is more citizen accountability, personally. Just people taking their own security and safety into their own hands, and people realizing that the natural consequences of calling the police. A lot of times when you call the police over something innocuous, somebody dies. You know, like, I can't tell you how many 100 times I've heard on the police scanner, oh, my kids are being too loud. Call men and women with guns. Hey, there's this guy sitting outside in the parking lot. Call men and women with guns. Hey, there's a guy that has a knife on his hip walking in a shopping mall. Not illegal, but still, call men with guns. Like, people need to stop, as a culture, leaning on authority to fix all their damn problems for them. And if you have any questions about the guy walking through the shopping mall with a knife strapped to his hip, maybe start a conversation with him. If your children are being too loud, instead of calling the magic men with guns, how about you parent your own fucking children?
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with this culture?
Yeah. People just depend too much on the police. And, I mean, we both see it.
Bunny, I shit you not. I hear that at least 3 times a weekend. People are calling because their kids are being loud. And they want officers sent out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get the interview that was never got finished up on the last episode, so people can watch that, and then we can get out and get out there early tonight.
Yeah, man.
I want to do some bar hopping.
Yeah, and I just have to say finally that it's horrible that these cops were murdered. Okay, but they're not fucking heroes. They're guys that have a job that got murdered in a Chinese restaurant. But yeah, let's stop teasing everybody and give them that sweet pink camera magic that they've always wanted. Hey, cop watchers, First Amendment auditors, and rabble rousers. I figure since this video is what I'm interviewing pink camera magic about, I may as well include that before we go ahead and get to our interview. So here is the video that we'll be talking about for about 20 minutes.
Hey, when's the interview actually start on here, man?
After the video, so people can have context as to what we're talking about for 20 minutes.
Okay, well, we already reviewed the video 2 episodes ago, so...
Okay, well, it starts when the random cop watching footage starts. It's only 3 minutes, Bunny. Just patience. Right there. That's a good
With
spot.
pink
Yeah.
camera magic,
Here we
say
go.
hi to everyone.
Hi, everybody.
So, Bunny and I watched the video of you trying to film outside of a, was it a federal courthouse?
It was a circuit courthouse, actually, in Cook County, outside of Chicago.
Okay, and now we noticed a couple things about that video that we found most striking, and it was the psychology of the law enforcement officer that approached you, the second one. The first one just asked what you were doing, and then another one came out, and we noticed that he was basically gaslighting or psychologically trying to make you react in an extreme manner the whole time. I mean, did you feel like he was trying to subtly manipulate you and mess with your head?
Absolutely. I mean, he was doing some pretty typical, law enforcement tactics as far as, like, assuming, well, one thing he was doing was making up laws. First he said there was some kind of Homeland Security or some kind of court law, judicial law against it, and he was going to show me, which obviously I know deters none, and I called his bluff, and so as a result of calling his bluff, he tried to get me to go inside and said he was going to ID me and all that stuff while I asked him for the law that he cited to me. So he pulled some old school, typical law enforcement crap, pretty much.
Yeah, the language he was using was very interesting. He said, we're going to go inside and we're going to run you and you're going to come in, or we're going to come inside with you. Like you're both on the same team, like Team Tyranny or something. Like you're going to work together to, trample your civil rights. And I found it really annoying, but me and Bunny were very impressed at how calm you were. Like after he brought you in and he asked you, have you heard of Homeland Security? And and then you immediately asked him if he was familiar with the 2010 memo that explains that filming is okay and it shouldn't be impeded, and that was really great. And then the very last thing he said really, really got me and Bunny just really, really pissed, because, you said, I don't consent to any searches of my person, or that includes my phone, and you're all very calm. And you asked him if he's ever heard of the Fourth Amendment. And he's like, in his exact words was, why do I get the crazies? And to me, I think he was trying to, obviously, and that's what you thought as well, just trying to get you to get pissed off and start screaming, and you didn't. And that was just, Bunny and I were just super impressed. Can you tell us what happened after that tyrannical bastard turn your camera off? Can you walk us through, me and the audience, as to what happened after?
Yeah, one thing before I start on that I want to mention really quick is, the last thing he said was, oh great, why do I get all the crazies or whatever. The irony in that statement is that he also co-owns a company called Positive Life or something like that. He's a psychiatrist, so he's actually a counselor, and he counsels people, law enforcement and regular people who have dealt with trauma and things like that and are dealing with post-traumatic stress. So I just thought that was very, very ironic, because he tends to deal with quote crazies all the time. But anyways, after that, I was in handcuffs, and I sat at the sheriff's office for a couple of hours, and he was telling me, he was giving me ultimatums. He was saying, you have to ID yourself, otherwise you're going to do 90 days in jail. We're going to take you to the Cook County jail. You're not going to be able to see a judge, for like 3 days. And he was trying to scare me, and it wasn't working. I stuck to my guns. I remained silent. And what ultimately ended up happening is he took my purse, emptied it out, and got my ID that way. I actually I wasn't there to perform an audit. I was actually there because I had some business and I was leaving, and I figured, I had my camera with me, and so, I thought, why not? So that wasn't my intention anyways, otherwise I would have never had my ID on me. But that's what they did. They emptied my purse, took my ID, and then finally, after taking my camera in his back office and doing whatever he was doing, he said that I have to see the judge today. So, I'm still not knowing what's going on. Am I officially arrested? Am I being charged with a crime? So we walked down. I'm in cuffs still. We went to see the judge, and the judge called me right away and was like, I understand the matter came up, and so he talked to both me and the sheriff, whatever. The sheriff said, well, yeah, this lady was on side recording, and right away the judge, his name is Peter Felice, and he's out of the 5th Circuit, Cook County. He said delete it. And he wanted to make sure that I had this footage deleted, so I opened it, and there was another sheriff behind me double-checking just to make sure, but my footage was already gone. So he had actually deleted my footage.
Before the judge told him to do so?
Yes.
Wow. Now, this cop that leapt on your camera like a striking cobra, and I'm not even kidding, you know, I'll show the audience the video again. Right when you mentioned, have you heard of the First Amendment, this guy works in mental health, and what is his name?
His name is Don Milazzo.
Okay. And will you send me a link later to that mental health company that he works for, or that business that he runs for himself?
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's called Positive Life or something. I think it's in Oak Lawn.
Wow! It looks like he's putting his psychology training to good use, gaslighting and torturing people to try to get ID out of them illegally and trampling their civil rights. Okay, so what happens after the judge said delete the footage?
After he said delete the footage, you know, it was deleted. He seized my SD card and said, and then he asked me if I wanted it back later or whatever. I said, yeah, I do. He said, well, then you need to come back on Friday, which is 2 days later. And I said, do I have to come back, or is it just if I want to pick up my card? And he said, I have to come back. So so after that, I came back 2 days later, brought a couple people with me. Chi-Town Sue, she's another auditor that I work with from time to time, and a supporter named Kevin, because what happened was so outrageous and unbelievable that I actually felt like I needed witnesses. You know?
That was a smart move on your part. I'm wondering if either of them had the courage to film.
Pardon me?
Did either of them have the courage to film that?
Not in the court.
Right.
And I don't blame them. I wouldn't have expected that either, even though it's kind of cool. But Illinois has some very, very strict one-party consent or two-party consent laws.
I got you.
So yeah, but you know, that's a good thing they didn't take that chance.
Now,
but,
one quick question. I saw in the video, because you were standing quite a bit of ways from the wall of the courtroom or the courthouse, there's no signs outside posted that says anything about not being able to film, are there?
No, not at all.
Okay, right on. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. What were you going to say?
Sure. I'm not sure where I was at.
You were at your friends went with you to be witnesses to protect you when you got when you went to retrieve your SD card from your camera.
Yes. So they came with, and right away I was not on the docket or anything. I was never charged with a crime. But when I went to go sign in, the lady was like, "Oh, you're the lady with the camera." I said, "Yeah." So right away when the judge came out, he called me up and he said, "Here's your SD card. We didn't look at it. We didn't delete anything. Have a nice day." So I think it's only safe to assume that he must have spoke with, you know, the city attorneys or something, and they told him that he was wrong. I think he must have realized what he did.
Right. But so he lied to you in court after at the second contact. This was the same judge, correct?
Yes.
So he lies to your face and says that we didn't delete anything and hands you your property back, that they seized illegally.
Yes, well, the court, I should say, he was speaking on behalf of the court. He wasn't speaking on behalf of the sheriff.
Okay.
He was the one who actually deleted the footage. But then he also made me delete it myself in court. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They forced you to delete it in court under pain or penalty of contempt of court charges, right?
Absolutely. And that's another thing, too, he said. I forgot to mention. He said that if I get caught recording the courthouse again from the outside, I even asked him, I didn't even mention this, too, but yeah, he said I would be in contempt. Now, remember, I was never charged with any kind of crime. And then, on top of that, I asked if I could do it from the sidewalk, and he called me a smart-ass.
Wow. Yeah, you know, as far as I'm concerned, this lovely cop, what's his name again?
Don Milazzo.
Okay, there's something that's kind of a universal cultural value in America, and that's the value of civil rights. And, you know, the Bill of Rights, you know, your due process rights are violated, your Fourth Amendment right was violated, your First Amendment right was violated, and this cop has allowed his perception of his uniform and his station to make him believe that he is somehow above that. And I would argue that that is a mental illness. You know, I think he's the crazy one, not you. You know, you calmly asserting your rights is, you know, behavior that's in the normal spectrum of what we accept as a cultural norm in America. Not this deviant, aberrant gaslighting of someone and trying to, you know, act like they're crazy because they want to adhere to the social norms. And that's the big point I wanted to make about this.
Yeah, well, you know, I feel like someone had to be the adult.
Right? Because he was acting like a bully child that had the biggest, you know, the biggest bright, shiny bucket in the sandbox, you know, and he's, like, tugging it away from the other little kids, like...
Pretty much, yeah. It was really sad to see, you know, and I gotta say, man, in Cook County, the corruption runs deep. I mean, look at how the judge was acting.
Yeah, just
pretty bad.
Yeah, just complete mindless backing up of, you know, any other authority figure. It's getting really bad culturally. I mean, the country's descending into tyranny, and people are starting to, you know, respect authority blindly without question. And I think it's dangerous as a society. I think it's dangerous because it allows these people to continue to act in these entitled, malignant ways towards anyone who, you know, has the courage to assert their civil rights. And that's like, you know, culturally, that's leading us down the wrong path, if I may say so myself. You know, it just creeps me out that this kind of stuff happens to people. And, you know, this happens to thousands of people a day. They're just not, you know, as brave as you, or, you know, willing to record it and willing to calmly stand up for your rights. You know, me, I would have been cussing the cops out. You know, I would have been, you know, yeah, I have a hard time keeping my mouth closed, but like that's one of the things that makes you, like, you know, a little smarter and a little more cool-headed than I am. But is there anything else you want to add about this experience, or what would you have to say to this judge, you know, and this law enforcement officer that did this to you?
Well, first of all, I would choose to remain silent because I would not speak to them.
Right.
Okay, I can say that. You know, we'll let their own actions speak for themselves.
Oh, perfect.
As far as they're concerned. But I also wanted to add that, you know, that doing this, I understand the risk, and I know that, you know, you film cops all the time, and you know that, you know, going to jail is a risk that you have to be willing to take, and, you know, in my opinion, it's worth it, because what my objective is, personally, is simply to let the people of, you know, Cook County know who they're hiring to do this work for them. You know, these people need exposure, and these videos need to be seen, and that, in my opinion, is the most important thing, and that's why I'm glad this interaction happened, because somebody like Malazzo shouldn't be, well, first of all, a counselor, and second of all, you know, in a position that he's in with being a sheriff, not only a sheriff, but a supervisor. And then on top of that, the way the judge was, it's ridiculous, and I think that the people need to see that to hopefully start looking into, you know, making some changes and thinking for themselves, you know, what else is happening, like how are my rights being violated as well. So hopefully that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and you have my support anytime you need any kind of, you know, an interview done, or if you need somebody to mirror your stuff, or do a, you know, tyrant alert, or just anything that Film the Police Portland can do to help you out when you need more exposure. Just let me know, because, you know, I was an instant fan of your work once I started seeing your stuff pop up on YouTube, and yeah. Just so you know, you have support and admirers and people that are willing to, you know, add their voice to yours.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And you're one of the people who helped me get started by watching your videos and stuff. Like, I was in awe. This was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I started watching your videos, and I was like, yeah, he's great. And so I finally had such pleasure meeting you about a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to go out in Austin and do some cop watching together. I really didn't know that you were kind of inspired by me a little bit. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Like, I didn't know that, you know, I was one of the first people you saw online doing this kind of stuff, and that was kind of the point of me wanting to do so much of it. You know, is I wanted other people to join in, and it's not going to work until we get hundreds and hundreds of more people. And something that's been giving me a lot of hope recently is First Amendment auditing, cop watching, First Amendment testers, liberty activists, especially in the video arena and live streaming, has blown up over the last 6 months. I mean, we've gotten, you know, 2 or 3 dozen more YouTube channels that I've never heard of, and they're doing good work online. Like I'm really excited about this. I mean, have you seen all these new people coming up?
It's hard to keep up, but I've seen a lot of them. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it makes me so happy, because it's just like, yes, everyone's starting to do this. That's when I'm going to stop, when doing this is when people start recording their own traffic stops, when they start, when the cops start behaving themselves. Like, I've seen a lot of boring audits lately, which is excellent, because we want the cops to just wave and pass. We just want to be left alone.
Yeah, like, it's a successful, if you're doing an audit and the cops come up and they're nice and they have a pleasant conversation with you, and they don't try to ID you when you've not committed any crime, and it's a pleasant conversation, that's a win. And I like that too. I mean, over the years of me doing this, I'm on friendly terms with quite a few cops, and a lot of cops kind of get it. They understand that when we're out cop watching, if a citizen alleges the cop hurt them and it's not true, the cops are protected from that. And honestly, that happens. Sometimes people do make up lies, about cops. I mean, the world is full of people, and some are honest and some aren't. Quite often than not, cops are lying and planting drugs on people, or making up false charges, or manufacturing fictitious reasons to pull people over. The camera doesn't lie. We can put our own interpretation on it, but what really puts a smile on my face is quite often Bob and myself, or Chris Ponte, or Eli, or any of the other cop watchers that I know will be working with me, and we'll roll up on a traffic stop, and the police will leave really fast as soon as we show up.
Yes.
And then we interview the people in the car, and they're like, oh yeah, they were being super rude to me, they were being very aggressive, and when you showed up, they started being nice. Their attitude completely changed towards me. And, if that's what we have to do to, socially modify the behavior of these pigs with our cameras, then so be it. I'm willing, as well as you are, I'm totally willing to be arrested over that. And I just told you a story a few minutes ago about the fact that I was nearly arrested last night for standing my ground and saying, no, I'm going to stand here and film. And you're absolutely right. That thing you touched on, that other people on the internet that hears this interview needs to know. If you're going to go out cop watching, it's not a matter of, if you're going to get arrested. It's a matter of when. You just have to be prepared for that to happen, or don't do it, quite frankly.
Yes. Man, that actually brings up part of the reason why I really got started doing, because I began with cop watching before I started doing auditing, and I remember that instant, like the very first time I went to cop watch, I was with a friend of mine, we saw a traffic stop, we came out, pulled out the cameras, and the cops left, and so it's like me and Foxy would joke around a lot of times, and we'd say, look at a guy named Big Magic, that it was magic because when when my camera would appear, the cops would disappear. So it was kind of a joke we had going on for a long time, and that alone makes it worth it.
That's great. So that's why you call yourself Pink Camera Magic, is because it's like the magic cop repellent?
Yep.
That's
great. Make cops disappear.
All right, well, this has gone for about 19 minutes, and if there's nothing you'd like to add to maybe... here's one last question. To other women that want to get into this, and other guys for that matter, like newer people, what advice would you give?
My advice, the advice that I would give, especially if you're just starting, is to just be quiet. Don't try to be the star of your own video. You know what I mean? Just step back, pull out your camera, and let them know that you're filming. That's it. You know, I mean, this is for cop watching, and try not to interact with them as much as possible. I mean, over time, and once you get to know the laws and things like that, and you get more comfortable, maybe yes. But, you know, let them, you know, react naturally to your camera. Let them, you know, either approach you or ignore you. You know, let them make that decision on what to do, I guess, is probably my best advice. And then be quiet. Like, you know, if they arrest you or approach you or anything, you know, just don't say anything.
All right, wonderful. So I'd just like to thank you again for doing this pre-recorded interview for next week's strategic noncompliance, and I'd love to have you on again if something major happens or something goes down that you need attention drawn to it. Just hit me up through my social networks, and we'll get you on again. Okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Forgot. Okay, there we go. Unmuted my mic.
Oh yeah.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, with the it was already deleted before before the judge even said delete it. That's big, huge issue right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not a matter of what actually happened. It's a matter of what you can prove. You know, unfortunately.
That's provable.
And once you go behind that, it's not provable that he deleted it before the judge told him to delete it.
Yes, it is.
How?
The entry logs. There will be some sort of log that says when that file was marked for deletion. That's why
if they bothered to make that, if they bothered to make the entry log, sure.
No, on the device itself, electronic devices log actions.
I got you.
This is why if something has something deleted on it, you don't touch it. You go and use something else, and that goes to evidence.
Sure. Yeah, that's what we told her on Facebook as soon as this happened to her. We said don't record anything else, and get somebody to hook you up with forensic data recovery software. So yeah, there'll be a time log, you know, as to when it was deleted and whatnot. So yeah, it's totally possible
it literally requires a forensic memory data diving and all that stuff. But yeah, there will be a log of when exactly that delete button was hit within the logs, within the device logs itself.
You devious little bunny rabbit, you.
Yeah, it's just, this is part of knowing your technology, knowing the tools. And for you didn't realize it until I pointed it out.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Because most people just don't have access to that tech, and that's why I didn't think of it. Is because, you know, I don't do forensic data recovery. But it is really cool that exists, like a time log. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most it should be in there, but it's hard to say. It depends on the specific device and the settings and all that stuff. But in most likelihood, there'll be an exact time, date, and possibly even second of when that delete button was hit. And there'll also be a log of when she was pulled in front of the judge. And if that log says, okay, she was pulled in front of the judge at this specific time frame, and the delete on that file was at this specific time frame, well, guess what?
There's more than likely footage of this dickbag erasing the footage from the hallway. He probably stood right there and monkeyed with it. If he was smart enough to figure out the camera's operation, he might have had to hand it off to someone else.
Yeah, and this is also the reason why I state, if you have a recording device, try to set it up where it can record with the screen turned off, or at least where it'll continue recording when you hit the screen turned off. This is the main reason why I advocate for using Streamlabs, is because, at least with the Android devices, it'll continue recording in most cases after the screen is turned off, with this ZTE phone, apparently it stops recording after about 2 minutes, I think, is the specific time frame when the screen's turned off. I still haven't been able to find a workaround on that. I think I might actually have to root the device in order to fix that issue. But that's why we got the activists need to start instituting tools to properly protect their stuff. It's also part of the reason why my phones are all encrypted and locked that I do any live streaming with, is so this way there's no way they can screw with the stuff that's on there without me putting in the key code or them brute forcing the key code out of it, unless I end up setting up the, that kill command thing where it formats the entire device, in which case then they fuck themselves over. But anything else to add, Mike?
No, man. I'm just really excited to get out there and film that saturation patrol today and do my cop watching. I do want to say hi to Desert Sentinel and Son of Hightower, and the other folks that are in my chat room. Rod and Iden, and that's about it. Wendy Q, of course. We can't forget you, Miss Q. All right. So yeah, that's all I got, man.
Well, why don't you do your plug, and then I can do my plug, and then we'll end it.
All right, my plug is, get your butt down below my videos on YouTube and sign up for Virtual Shield, because you want to reach out and grab that jar of lotion unabashedly. You want to do it with confidence, and you want to know that the government's not going to be able to plant kitty porn on your computer. So go through my affiliate link, which will be under any other video other than this one, because that's very lazy of me. I didn't do it. But yeah, click through my affiliate link and sign up for Virtual Shield, because damn it, it's the right thing to do. You got to protect yourself and support strategic noncompliance, because me and Bunny put some effort into this, and both he and I do a lot of hard work in activism, and it's really great to support your local activist. Oh, by the way, every asshole that gets murdered at a restaurant is just merely an asshole that was murdered at a restaurant. Just because you're murdered at a restaurant doesn't necessarily make you a hero. Your actions make you a hero.
Yeah. And yes, Kendall, we're calling it. We're ending it an hour early because it is 4:20 and the cops are going to be out wandering and busting people, and we want to be able to go out and watch them bust that. And I sort of want to get drunk earlier tonight. Anyway,
right, because they're doing saturation patrols for the legalization or the areas where there's legalization of marijuana. So lots and lots of cops to film tonight.
Yeah, and continue. NJ Diver, I like that idea. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Anyway, for my little plugs, as is, this is Strategic Noncompliance. We're on twice a week, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time frame, so the East Coast people can be able to participate and join us on the live chat and all that. And Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time frame, so the West Coast has a chance. Of course, it's right on the weekend. A little bit hard to work in with all the other stuff that's going on. Stay tuned for later on tonight. I plan on going out bar hopping, maybe watching some people get busted. Who knows? It's a 420 night. We're in a legalized state where they legalize pot usage. Not supposed to be used in public, so it might be filming people that are going to get busted but for smoking out in public. Anyway, continuing on with that, you can catch me on YouTube for on Bunny Boots Inc. here, or also BBI Drama and Live Streams, which I have a link usually in the description, or it's also on the side of my main channel there if you look. I'm also live streaming usually on the other channels of Twitch, Mixer, Periscope, and Stream.me. But anyway, how about letting Kendall, you know what? Send me an email. Maybe we'll have you co-host. We'll see about that. I have an interesting possible debate I'm thinking of cooking up about a court case I just recently read. Me and another person started having differing opinions.
You're gonna have him co-host one of your other shows or whatever?
Maybe. Who knows?
Well, right on. Sounds fun.
Oh, and yes, 007, yeah, you better put those alerts out to the lamps. I don't know. It depends on how many drinks I get into me. So, anyway.
Yeah, remember, bunnies weevil, but they don't fall down.
Anyway, you guys have a good night. I'll see the people on my channel again later on. Mike Blue Hair people, I'll see you guys next week. And I'm going to hit the end